I'm just gonna start talking, and whatever I say is whatever I say. Whatever happens, happens. I don't know what's gonna happen, but I'm gonna say a bunch of words. This is my review of Tekken 8, my rambling review. I got the game when it came out, obviously. I played it on the PlayStation 5, beat it all in one sitting. First and foremost, the game is good. Tekken 8 won the fighting game war that's currently going on, that's always been going on between Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Tekken fighting game.
Not playing like Tekken fighter games or Street Fighter.
And all the others, like Dead or Alive, Virtua Fighter, Guilty Gear, King of Fighters, Smash Brothers. Really, we're talking about the big three right now. Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, and Tekken 8. Tekken. Tekken 8 won the fighting game war. Tekken 8 is the best one that we have right now. Street Fighter 6 hasn't had any sort of like major updates or DLCs. Don't think Akuma's in the game currently as of the 31st of January, nearly February. Mortal Kombat 1 is actually getting dogged on. Big ups for Tekken. There's not been really any complaints for Tekken 8, like, at all. If anything, I'm pissed off that Tekken 7 wasn't what Tekken 8 was. The game is phenomenal. I love the game. I think the story is what they should have done since, like, they should have done this type of story in Tekken 6. This whole, like, world domination thing from, like, Jin, who's like supposedly, allegedly like a 23-year-old, is so far-fetched that they couldn't even retcon it in Tekken 7, that they had to retcon it fully in Tekken 8. Essentially what they did, guys, this is rambling, I'm rambling, they gave an extension to the story of Tekken 2 in Tekken 8. They acknowledged Tekken 3 a lot. Tekken 4, debatably the best story-driven fighting game of all time, though nobody seems to care about that anymore, but it is. It truly is. The best fighting game story of all time is in Tekken 4. Tekken 5 is just ridiculous, like just dumb. It doesn't, the story of Tekken doesn't even exist in Tekken 5. I think the biggest thing is that Jin takes the throne because Heihachi was absent and Kazuya was doing something for some reason.
Jason.
They had to retcon Tekken 6 because Tekken 6, story-wise, gameplay-wise, it's good. Story-wise, it's probably one of the most atrocious fighting game stories of all time. Jin takes over the world, kills people, has World War III because Ogre 2.0 is in Egypt, and he has to go to Egypt to find Ogre 2.0 to kill Ogre 2.0, but the only reason why Ogre 2.0 can exist is because of the death and destruction of everyone else in the world, is how Ogre 2.0 is like resurrected. So they had to do that for the story. That's the whole game. And it's a beat 'em up for the story mode, which is crazy because that's the first appearance of Lars is in the beat 'em up section in Tekken 8, which is kind of cool. Very annoying though. I had Jax T-posing. I had T-posing Jax running around. I got it on my PlayStation recording. I'll probably phone in like a phone video. Tekken 7, they try to retcon it by putting a journalist as the main narrator and completely ignoring Jin's story and Lars and Alyssa and them, and kind of focusing on Heihachi because Heihachi was meditating the entire game of Tekken 6. In Tekken 5, he was in a grave. He got blown up from the Zaibatsu Hanmaru place into a graveyard where he was buried for weeks. He missed the entire Tekken 5. That's why Tekken 5 story doesn't exist, is because Heihachi was completely out of the loop of Tekken 5. So in Tekken 6, Heihachi is just meditating the entire game and is kind of out of action. He doesn't really care anymore at this point. But in Tekken 6, they do find Ogre 2.0. They killed Ogre 2.0. So in Tekken 7, they can retcon everything in it and pretend that it doesn't exist, which they do. But Heihachi comes back, he comes out of meditation, and he goes back to the Zaibatsu, overtakes everything. lures out, like, at this point, like, Kazuya is like a good guy. People don't know that he's like Devilman, which is still like trying to bring elements from Tekken 2, even with Kazumi, because Kazumi was referenced in Tekken 2, to bring the Tekken 2 story of like Kazuya being like a head of the corporation and such, but he's like a bad guy, but nobody really knows that. That should have been like the whole story leading up to this. Is just so convoluted, and these are all individual titles of Tekken that are like years apart from each other, and it's not very coherent. But they retcon again in Tekken 8 by making it the most cohesive story that they tell, and it's so cheesy as well. It's very cheesy, but it's very coherent. It's A to B. It's a story. It's the hero's journey. Jin starts like they want to tell the Tekken 3 story of like Jin and Heihachi, but they forgot that they killed Heihachi, so they said, okay, we're gonna scrap that. We're gonna take it immediately after the events of Tekken 7, and you see Jin and Kazuya, they're fighting in the street, and then the story is, all right, Jin is like, he's got the bad devil gene, but it's like he wants to be a good person. So they go full anime with it, which is good. Like the anime story writing elements of it, there's a lot of anime type structure with it, but the story is very A to B. It's not as convoluted as Tekken 6 and Tekken 7, because they honestly fucked up with the Tekken 6 storyline, so they had to make it just made it way more convoluted in Tekken 6 and 7 than it really needed to be. Tekken 4 was like almost super coherent, and then they just abandoned it, and an entire game they abandoned a whole storyline for an entire game. So they make Tekken 8 the most cohesive and comprehensible story, where it's father and son against the father. The father is corporation man. He runs the world now, which is the events of Tekken 2. They retcon Tekken 6 again in Tekken 8 by making you fight Azazel to just sort of like hammer in the point that they are, I think that was their way of apologizing for the story of Tekken 6. The fact that they have to have Azazel, like, the Tekken team was probably thinking like, yo, Tekken 6 was atrocious. Like, how are we supposed to retcon this in the Tekken 8 story? People are gonna be like, well, what about the Azazel and orbs and Egypt? Jin was a part of that. He did that. You can't have like the, sun is gonna rise above the evil type story without addressing him nearly killing the entire world. So they bring Azazel up so Kazuya can fight him and destroy him, just so it's retconned in a pretty good way. Unless you play Yoshimitsu's character episode and then you fight Azazel, which I did that before I played the story, and I was like, oh, yo, why is Azazel in here? That's cool. Yoshimitsu's cool. Yoshimitsu's got that Tekken 3 look, which is awesome. It is awesome. But yeah, you destroy Azazel, and it's the way that someone thinking about Tekken, when they hear Tekken, like, they think this is what the story has always been, without all the convoluted Devil Gene, Volcano, the G Corporation type stuff, and like Mishima Zaibatsu is still kind of dumb. It's kind of stupid. It's more easy to grasp Kazuya owns everything because he buried his dad in a lava volcano. It's easier to grasp even like the Devil Gene stuff more than like G Corporation and corporation stuff. It's like Yakuza type stuff in a way. They own everything, that's their corporation. But even that is like kind of explained, where it's like he's like top dog in the game. Kazuya's top dog in the game. He's bad devil. Jin is like, he has to like contact his mom through meditating in a temple. They get surrounded by jacks, and Ling Xiaoyu has to beat up everyone, all the jacks. So Jin meditates on his devil gene and becomes like a good guy. He's like good. He's got good devil genes now because his mom was like meditating with him or something. I don't know. They don't really explain that. June doesn't really make an appearance, but she's there. She's there in Kazuya's ending, which is fucking hilarious. When I played throughout the entire story of like Tekken 8, I would joke to myself about different things. Like, I swear I was doing this throughout the, like, because leading up to Tekken 8, I was going like back through like the old Tekken games and such, and it's a known thing that Kazuya is kind of a sneakerhead. He likes sneakers. That's his favorite thing. And I remember playing through like the story of Tekken 8 and just thinking like, yeah, Kazuya's kind of a bad guy, but he likes sneakers. Did you know he likes sneakers? And after I played like the character episode of Kazuya, and it's like an interview of Kazuya, and they're interviewing him, it's like, okay, that's cool. Does he have any hobbies? Well, he's kind of a big sneakerhead. I don't think anybody knows that. And then he turns around and fucking opens a big ass closet full of sneakers. That was the funniest thing I think I've ever seen in a Tekken game, like ever. That was the coolest thing in the game, like by far for me, was the reveal that after all this time he is still a sneakerhead. I would joke to myself, like just playing the game, like, yo, yeah, Kazuya, he might be a bad guy, but he's actually a pretty big sneakerhead. I don't know if y'all know this. That was the best thing they put in the game, like, by far, bar none. One thing that I really liked in the Tekken 8 story, again, I'm a big Tekken fan, so all the little things I would notice immediately. For new players, it's the perfect fighting game, I would say. You can still button mash, there are tutorials, and there's such a wide variety of stages and characters. It's not necessarily like a lot of offline stuff other than the story and then like Super Ghost Battle and Arcade Battle. But the arcade stuff, like, you're able to kind of learn the game, which is awesome. I think that's a really cool thing for new players. But playing through the story, it makes the game like it's an actual tournament. Every game, it doesn't feel like a tournament at all. It feels like an arcade game, really. That's what it is. But this game is like the first game where it's like, it's a tournament. It's a Tekken tournament. There's rounds, there's brackets, and it's definitely not because Tekken has been like exploding in the fighting game scene because of all the world tour stuff they were doing for the past nearly decade now. They actually made it a Tekken tournament, which is pretty cool. I would try to pick out the little things of like, just because it's a new game, I'm playing through the story, I'm gonna notice the little things of like old school Tekken fans will notice. Like Paul, for instance. When I first saw Paul, I thought to myself, well, they're actually doing pretty good with the story. Are they really gonna go as far as like knowing that a Tekken fan wants Paul to fight Kazuya like really badly? Paul and Kazuya are like first game rivals. Like, Paul was supposed to fight Kazuya, he's always supposed to fight Kazuya. And then they mention it in the story that, you know, I think Law is saying something to Paul, and Paul's like,
yeah, I won't let him go unchecked. I'll give Kazuya a nice smack in the face!
I was like, oh shit. That's good, I like that. The end of the game was actually really cool. I do like that they got in a very anime way, but a way where it makes sense, where it's not like cybernetics or something. They just fight it out, and it leads up for Tekken 9. That's gonna be a cool idea. I really hope they play with that idea. That's gonna be really interesting to see, because a lot of the mechanics and a lot of stuff that a lot of people were worried about with this game actually don't matter, because the game is solid.
You're pretty good.
The heat system, the heat smash, is kind of like a rage drive. Like, after you like engage heat and then you use the heat again, it does like a extended move thing, like their heat drive move. It's kind of like the rage drive, and it kind of works, and I'm glad that it's there. It's very well put together. It seems like it was very thought out. It's the things that are like wrong with the game are stuff that they're gonna update, like they're gonna patch out, because it's not like a fundamental thing in the game. Everything fundamentally is some of the best work they've had in, I mean, over a decade, since like 2018. 2018 Tekken 7 was like primo Tekken. Everybody loved the game. It was exciting to watch, it was exciting to play. It had great characters. It feels like that 2018 Tekken. I'm very excited to see what we're gonna see throughout the entirety. But yeah, I mean, overall, if you've never gotten into Tekken, Tekken 8's the one to start at. And then if you want to play other Tekken games, Tekken 3. If you've never played Tekken, play Tekken 8 and then play Tekken 3, because that's where it all really kind of started for popularity of Tekken. I know people that were playing Tekken 1 in the arcade when it came out. That's how I actually got into Tekken, is because family friends played the first one in the arcade back in like 94, 95. Overall, Tekken 8, this might be the first Tekken game where like I 100% agree with like the reviews, where a majority is giving it like a 9 out of 10, 9.5. I think it really legitimately like is like a solid 9 out of 10. From a fighting game standpoint and a replayability, it's still good enough for that. It deserves the 9 out of 10 that it's been getting. Good game, great game, worth the wait. Whatever.